Home is where connections are made, memories are formed, and ideas are born. And no one knows home better than NFM. Thanks for tuning in to I Am Home, the podcast that goes deeper than trends and dives into what it means to make your house a home.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another home. Let's just scratch that and start. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the I Am Home podcast. I'm Tyler Weiskup from NFM, and I'm joined by the voice virtuoso who should probably just replace Alexa. It's Becca Sudbeck.
Right. Absolutely. Hi, Tyler.
Hi, Becca. And she shines brighter than the output of an outdoor TV. It's Hilary Walterman.
Nice.
Hey.
Right, nice.
Hi, Hilary. This month, we're debunking home and design myths, and we're flipping the script on everything you thought you knew about some fascinating topics. Today's episode is a great one, hence my my little intros for Becca and Hilary. We're talking with two of our favorite guests about smart home electronics and insulation, outdoor stuff, and debunking some really just mean and nasty myths that I think people need to know about and understand, and just we're going to give them all of that perspective. So I'm really excited to get into it. But before we do, let me tell you why we're even doing this podcast. And that's because NFM is more than just your everything home store. We're in the business of improving lifestyles because your home life should be your best life. Okay, so without further ado, let's introduce our experts. If we had an NFM draft, they'd be probably the two top picks. It's Will Duncan and Russell Weaver. Hello and welcome.
Thank you. This is a big deal. Appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate that. Will, you have just been with us for once before, but you were so good, we just had to bring you back.
Too
And
kind.
yes, of course. And then you specifically, you're one of our many talented electronics installation pros. I think you're referred to as the tech whisperer in many circles.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Okay. And we've got Russell. You've been with us, what, 5, 6? Have we kept count of
couple.
how many
I
episodes?
think this is 6 or 7. Yeah.
So you're an electronics obsessed guy and a former manager in the area. You just recently moved to a new role in the company, which we were just talking about before we jumped on the mic. Seems like it's going pretty well. Things are getting up to speed.
Trying to get up to speed, but not gonna lie, I'm gonna still have my claws in a lot of electronics for a while. So
good.
Enjoy it.
Glad to hear it, because we're gonna need that voice here on the podcast. So again, our goal today is to debunk some myths. So I brought you two to talk, again, electronics, smart home, TVs, sound systems, all that kind of stuff. So we've got a pretty expansive list, and we're going to try to get to as much of it as we can. But I'd love to jump in if you're ready.
Let's go for it. Absolutely.
So the first one that we have heard a lot, I know that you two have definitely heard it a lot, is I could never learn how to use this technology, or it's like super, super easy. So like there's a huge range in this myth, but you hear it from both sides.
Yeah, absolutely. I think when manufacturers are one to really start this idea of everything is so easy to use, and in some cases it is. When we have voice activation, we set up customers of walk into a room and, hey, Alexa, turn on the lights. Pretty simple.
That's as easy as it can
get.
It's
as easy as you can get, right? And then we have customers that are concerned that, oh man, this is so complex. There's no way I can ever learn this. Well, if you have someone like Will and a team show up and set it up for you to make it as easy as possible, then yeah, you can do this. On the flip side of that, when customers come in and they have expectations, high expectations, complex expectations of, as we were talking, I've got 6 teams that I follow, and I want all 6 teams to be able to show on these 6 TVs that I have on the wall. Well, then it's going to be a little bit harder to use. And so we run into situations where customers want this complex end, and then when grandma comes over and picks up the remote and she has no idea what's going on, it is a range. I used to make a joke of a good universal remote setup. It makes it easier to use. I always called it the Marriage Saver 2000. I just want to watch a movie. Why do I need 9 remotes? And so Will and his team has a design theory that they put together for a customer. Tell me how you use this. Tell me how you, when you sit down, how do you get things up and running? And then we want to be able to make it to where it's a 1-button solution or a 2-button solution.
Really, for me, I want to automate things for people, like your lights. I want them to automatically turn on and turn off. So you don't even have to think about it. There's no buttons to push. It happens every day. The more things that we can make just happen, the everyday things, that's the goal. That's like the core for me of smart home.
Yeah.
So let's take you interacting with it out of the equation altogether and just make your life a lot easier.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
But it's a conversation we have to have with the customer before we leave their house to show them. And that's one of the big things with our EDIC team is that when we leave, we're showing you how to use it. If they're not comfortable by the time we leave, then it's not the right product for them.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Okay, so we're debunking this idea that like it's super easy or you could never learn. Like there's degrees. We're gonna figure out the ways to make it like as simple as possible, so it just happens. Which I love that sentiment in general. I wish more things would just happen.
Totally.
But anyway, okay. So I feel good about that one. We're off to a great start here. Okay, so the next myth that I have is smart electronics are just a gimmick. I think this one, you get the less techie people and they're just like, that's just a thing and we don't need that.
It's a fad, like cell phones and the internet.
Right.
I think a gimmick is a weird term to price something that is the fastest growing portion of technology that's sold today is the smart home services. So, or something to make your life easier and automation. I mean, the way I look at it, we've been fantasizing about making everything easier since the Jetsons.
Your watch.
Right.
Your smartwatch or your phone that can do 40 things that your old phone couldn't do. So are there gimmicks in electronics? Absolutely. When we have things that wrap around your power cords to make it cleaner, or a spray on your television to make it 4K. Dumb stuff. It's not real, by the way. But there are gimmicks in. I'm thinking in any industry, but the idea that this industry is growing and finding things that people want to use it for, there are going to be some failures and some stuff that
some grifters who are trying to tell you some spray that you can put on your TV because
or just
I was really
ideas.
interested when you said that, but okay.
Or just bad ideas, a product that someone comes up and it just is a dumb idea. So, and we've had major manufacturers that will come up with an idea and they say, hey, we think that the public would want to buy something like this, and it falls flat, falls hard. So that I don't know if that's just a gimmick or bad marketing and design.
Again, I would look at robot vacuums is a great example. That's one less thing I have to do every day. For me, that's no longer a gimmick.
Right.
And these things are designed to make your life easier. And so again, I don't think it's a gimmick at all. For those type of things. Again, it's just there's so much stuff out there that just works now and does it without you having to interact with it that they've kind of figured it out.
And I will die on the hill saying a smart toaster is a gimmick. I do not need my toaster to be connected to the internet, but it's out there.
Right.
Really?
Somebody uses that every day.
Somebody uses it, but I don't. So
Okay. Hot take. It's like, I mean, really hot because toasters. Terrible.
It was a solid try.
Okay, thanks. All right, so let's move on. Next myth that I have is smart home solutions don't actually save you money. I know a lot of people, that's what they're hoping to do is like with the smart thermostats and that kind of thing, are hoping that it's going to save them some major bucks. And what do you think? Is this a myth or not?
Definitely a myth. If you take a look at the low-hanging fruit, thermostat's a great example of it's less expensive in most cases to keep your home in a temperature range instead of letting your heat turn off when you go to work and then come home and then you have to crank your heat to get that back up to temperature. If you just leave that temperature range, my Nest, for example, has a 10 degree range set up. Between winter and summer, it never goes below a certain temperature or above a certain temperature. It just stays there. It ends up saving quite a bit of money. Light switches that are automated. When you walk out of a room, when you're not home, when you're on vacation, those lights are off. You know that they're off. My garage door, for example, I can check on my phone to see if my garage door is open or closed. So that way in the winter, if nobody steals stuff, which saves a lot of money.
Right.
When we're talking about security, for example, is another one that absolutely has the potential of saving you a lot of money. And then when we talk about safety, we talk about CO2 sensors, water sensors that people put in their basement to make sure that there aren't any leaks or standing water. All those things are, yes, conveniences, but in the long term have the potential of saving you quite a bit of money.
Yeah.
One of my favorite smart home things that we do is we like to program a button near the garage, a hello and a goodbye. So when you hit goodbye, it can turn off all the lights in the house, turn off all the TVs the kids left on. Those things save real money, and we can automate it with a single button press that you don't have to think about. Again, that for me, huge money saver.
Jeez, well, got to come over to my house and do these things for me. I just every
Can
time we
do.
talk,
House.
every time we talk, I tell you. Okay, so the next myth, I feel like we debunked that one pretty hard. Last one. Next myth that I have is if my smartphone is dead, so is my smart house. True or not?
Not true.
Wildly untrue.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You really, the smart home lives on your router. Your internet in your house is the most important part. All of your devices are communicating to each other via that and to the web, those type of things. So your internet is the most important thing, far more important than your phone. The devices, when you leave, the devices continue to work. And, they know what they need to do. So phone is the least important part of that equation.
It's like your television. If you lose the TV remote, your TV still works. Not as easy to operate, but it still works.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. All your phone is your interface for your smart products.
Yeah.
So if you want to turn on your lights, if you lost your phone and couldn't turn on your lights, we've designed it very poorly.
Yeah. And we also have other ways, like we're talking about like the smart speakers you can talk to, and like that, like there's you talked about having something where you can just push a button, just like screens that we can set up as
touch
well.
panels,
So
those type of things. Absolutely.
Other options too, if like you're like me and phone's almost always dead all the time.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
We got chargers across the street. Battery backups. We'll get you taken
Only
care of.
there were a
Chargers. I
place.
geez, I just I need to take my own medicine sometimes, I think. Okay. Well, this one's similar. Smart systems are useless during power outages.
Correct.
Yeah. Myth.
That's kind of a hard myth to bust, because if there's no power running to your piece of equipment that is designed to run on power, it doesn't work. Now, on the flip side of that, there are devices to help out when power outages happen. One's called a UPS. It's an uninterruptible power supply. So we hook them up to computers, some high-end pieces of equipment. So when the power goes out, there's a battery backup that allows you to shut things down properly so it doesn't ruin your equipment. There are generators, of course, that will work, that when your power goes out, it flips over your generator mode to run your critical pieces of equipment. You were talking about the automated services for
Savant. So Savant is one of the vendors. They do smart homes, but they're also heavily invested in power, and they can recognize when it switches over to off-grid power, generator, backup battery, whatever it may be. You can design loads to be the important loads and ones that won't fire up. So it's not going to power the lamp in the wall, but your refrigerator stays hot. So it really expands the life of the batteries, the generator, whatever it may be, and it happens automatically.
Interesting.
It's just programmed like that.
Love
This one's important, this one's not, and it just moves on without its day. Grid comes back up, everything goes back to normal. You never have to interact with it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Good. Okay. Well, gotta get me one of those too. Just add to my
Put that on the list under the phone charger. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. What about this one? Smart devices will become obsolete quickly due to rapid technological advancements. I think there's some fear that, like, if I'm going to invest all this money, especially to like outfit an entire home, like it's going to get old fast.
Correct. That is a fact.
Okay.
But there's a differentiation between obsolete and non-operational.
Okay.
So if you're going to wait for the newest best thing before you buy something, you're always going to be waiting. There's always
You'll never buy something.
Yeah, exactly. There's always a better mousetrap about to be made by somebody. So buying the product that does what you need it to do. We have people that are early adopters, and I'm glad there are, because I mean, somebody's got to buy something that's the highest dollar amount to fund for the rest of them to make it cheaper.
Yeah,
it happens. But the product you buy isn't going to be non-operational. You'll be able to get everything you got out of it when you bought it. But if you are looking at the TV that I bought last year, for example, the LG C2, which is replaced by the C3, just replaced by the C4.
Correct.
So your TV is so old.
Yeah,
It's
now.
so
Yeah.
But my TV is still an OLED television, still has fantastic black levels, still handles motion really well. A lot of those features that I bought it for aren't changing because it's an older model. The newer one is brighter. The newer one has a faster processor in there. And yeah, it's a better TV, but my old TV didn't stop working because the new one's out. So that's the thing that I always have the conversation with the customers is you're not buying a TV that is going to stop working when the new model's coming out. It's still going to have every feature that you purchased it for when you bought it.
That's like a really good distinction
Yeah.
too. I think it's like, it's just because there's something newer doesn't mean yours still doesn't work.
Right.
Like
Right.
it was intended to work.
Now, do we want you to come in and buy the newest one anyway? Of course. I think that's a great idea.
Glad you thought of that.
Yeah. But you're right. There's
Yeah.
there's no reason to get a new one if your old one is working, unless you really want to give us more money, and we would love it. So,
Yeah. And manufacturers don't make products to stop working.
Yeah.
Right. And so again,
Right.
features continue to be supported. Again, you get a new one because you want a new one is mostly what it comes down to.
planned obsolescence is a fact. The manufacturers make a product knowing that there's going to be a new one coming out, and there are software updates that happen, and there's some things, and there might be some features that won't be available to you simply because your old TV or your old smartphone, your old just can't handle those features. But it's a completely different thought process of, hey, I got to get a new one just because. So
Makes sense. Okay, we're killing these myths.
Yeah.
Every single one of them, knocking them down. Okay, I'm loving it. So next one that I have is about. Well, I'll just read it. It's collecting personal data and gives hackers a backdoor into my house. They're afraid of this for their smart home systems. Is this a myth or not?
kind of. So so here's the thing. Will and I were talking about. If you sign up for a service that's free, or if you buy a product that's incredibly inexpensive, it does a lot. And that a lot is dealing with information. You're the product. It's you when you put in your name and address and phone number, and this is my email address and everything else. You're the product. The reason why they get you for the free stuff and the less expensive stuff is because it's your information that they build and they sell and they trade, because every one of you goes through that entire agreement, terms and conditions, right?
And
Read every
word.
when you
Yeah.
click,
All of it.
everybody
time.
does.
Yep.
Yeah.
So when
I print them out. and-
yes,
Highlight.
I frame it. So I think the issue is that that your manufacturers really don't. They aren't beholden to you to keep your information safe unless they tell you they're keeping their information safe. So if you're signing up for an app online that you're tracking your shopping habits and you're tracking your, whatever that would be, there aren't laws in the US that say they have to keep it. Now, if they tell you they're going to keep your information safe and they don't, that's a completely different situation. But when we look at what is available to hackers, it's a different situation. So when you buy a smart device and put it in your home, the security in your home through your router and through your network is very, very important. Finding ways to get into your own your own network is your responsibility. So when we set up a network for a customer, there are various levels of security that we can set up for that customer, everywhere from software on your router, simple passwords, more complex password, harder is to get into, to actual firewalls like we use here at Nebraska Furniture Mart to prevent people from dialing into our network and getting our information. So there are different levels of security. And for the people that don't set that security up, that don't prevent that traffic from dialing into their own network, there are devices that make that easier. There are lights and there are switches and there are other things that take your use information and send it to the manufacturer. So yeah, it's something that is out there and you have to be aware of.
Yeah, I always find it interesting when around my Alexas, if I'm talking about, we need a new dog bed. It's some kind of magic that all of a sudden my Amazon list includes dog beds, right?
Yes.
And I've never searched for them before. I was just having a conversation.
Yeah.
That's the information they're looking for. They want to, those are the type of things that's important to them. It's not your bank and routing. Those type of
Right.
things are done on a secure website. It's not something you're speaking about where they can hear those type of things. So,
Yeah.
and generally there are privacy settings on those devices. Cameras generally have a privacy slider that can go over the top of it if you're concerned. There's a mute button on most Alexa devices, right? So that you can make sure that she's not listening if you believe the button. But again, hey, it's out there. And so again, those are the type of things that people can be concerned with.
Mhm.
I would be much less concerned with, again, banking information, those type of things. Those are much more protected and not what Alexa's listening for.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because the theory is that it's designed to be easier or better for you. So it's
Mhm.
trying to be smarter
Yeah,
for
learn
you.
you.
Yes.
Like what
yes.
you want, what you're looking for.
Yes.
Even if you didn't ask for it
Yes.
necessarily.
Right.
Yes.
Now,
The way to sell you more. Yeah.
the algorithms that these companies produce to predict the things that you buy, that you will buy based on the videos you watch, the
Mhm.
commercials you don't
It's
skip,
crazy.
all of that, 100% are a real thing.
Mhm.
And it's kind of like the idea of you start noticing yellow cars. You're like,
Mhm.
why are there so many yellow cars? And then you
Uh-huh.
start seeing more yellow cars.
Mhm.
There aren't any more yellow cars.
Right.
You're just noticing them.
Yeah.
Mhm.
These algorithms are designed to make you go, maybe I do need a new dog bed.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's how it is. Maybe I will play
Right.
that commercial. How it
Uh-huh.
is. That's what they're designed to do.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
Well, e-commerce makes the world go round.
Right.
exactly.
Anyway, next myth that I have is that smart outdoor devices will have connectivity issues due to their distance from the router. I think there's some fear that, like, well, again, I'm going to pay all this money, but like if my Wi-Fi doesn't pick it up and it's go in and out, like, is there anything to this myth?
100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
100%. So part of it is distance and also is materials.
Okay.
So the outside of your home has more insulation, more sheathing, more material that Wi-Fi has to go through.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's designed to stay in your house. So if your router is downstairs on a 3-floor building and you're upstairs on the 3rd floor,
Yeah.
it has to go through
Mhm.
more and more material. I think I said this last time, or one of the times I was here.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So your router's a screaming baby. You put that screaming baby in a room and shut the door, and you go on the other side of the house. You're not going to hear that screaming
Harder
baby
to
as well.
hear.
Exactly.
Mhm.
So
yeah.
you either need to get a baby that can scream louder or more babies. So you can get there
Such a good
are
analogy.
mesh networks that put devices around your house that expand that network. There are outdoor wireless
Mhm.
access points that we put in. Actually, on the right before over here, we're looking for what we call a point-to-point system that relays Wi-Fi from building to building. So if you have an outbuilding or a
Oh, okay.
boathouse or a pool
Yeah.
house or anything, you want to
Mm.
run that around. So when we set up a design for a customer that involves outdoor equipment, Wi-Fi is definitely one of those things that we bring up.
Again, it's definitely not a myth, but it's also something very easy for us to address and
Yeah.
fix. And it's not only for your smart home devices, it's for every device.
Mhm.
Again, your garage door opener that's
Right, yeah.
smart, your phones, the kids' gaming systems, Wi-Fi across the house is important
Just
for
all the
everything.
electronics.
Mhm.
Yeah, everything now is connected, and
Yep.
Mhm.
being able to have somebody walk us through ways to make it better sometimes is helpful, because we're not all experts in this
Mhm.
field. So, okay, I love this. Okay, I have just a couple more. I think we got enough time. This one I've heard before. One bad outdoor storm and water, bugs, snow, etc., will ruin my outdoor electronics. Is that a myth? I know we had some bad weather recently.
Yeah. So I'm going to clarify what you mean by storm, because we've had recent storms that, of course, it's bad for the entire house, not just your
Yeah,
outdoor
right.
Fair.
equipment.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
anything that plugs in, you have power, any type of power surge, lightning strike, any of that, that's going to be an issue no matter what. There are just like people have a power strip or a line conditioner or something to help out, they make the same thing for outdoor equipment. But as for the equipment being outside, that is its purpose. That is a design purpose for those devices, such as outdoor speakers, outdoor surround sound systems, outdoor televisions. They are designed to be in the TVs
Weather.
we sell. They're
Yeah.
designed to be outdoor and weather. When we talk about televisions, we have some that are designed to be under an awning,
Mhm.
and we have others that are designed to be out by themselves, full sunlight all the time.
Right.
But they are purpose driven to take care of all the humidity issues that you'd have, rain, snow, extreme temperatures. They'll have a temperature range they want to stay within. But when we have customers that look at the price of an outdoor TV and they say, I can buy 2 or 3 regular televisions, so I'll just keep having those TVs break. And by the time I buy my 4th one, I am even on the average lifespan of an outdoor television. And we go, great. If you want to replace the TV 4 times by the time you get to it. So it's, I think when people think about the convenience of, I just need to buy it the once versus the not quite cost savings of having to buy 4 of them during the life of the television. But either way, we are going to help that customer. But
again, having a product designed for outdoor, it will be fine. Putting a product that was designed to be outside, there can be some issues. And so I think that's what it comes down to, is if it's designed to be outside, it's going to be fine.
Yeah. And Will, I think last time you were here, you suggested you can take some of the stuff inside for the season when you're not out there using it anyway.
Yeah, I said I'll always recommend that, even if it's designed to be outside. Again, outside in Nebraska is different than outside in Texas or Arizona, right? So bringing them in, taking the time to do that will only expand their life. And so again, it's minutes of your day. You're not using it anyway. Throw it in the garage, throw it in the basement. Again, and it'll just 10 to 15 minutes, not a big deal.
Although we do have a couple customers that will keep that outdoor TV next to the hot tub outside, because they will use
and if
it
you
in
use it,
winter.
great. That's
what it's there for. That's why you bought it.
Okay. Last myth that I have is smart home tech will destroy the planet when Skynet comes online. I think we all...
Well, I, for one, welcome our new robot overlords. So
you've been preparing for this day, actually.
Yes, absolutely. I will bleep and bloop what I need to blend in. So,
Is there any legitimate fear that, I mean, we recently have seen like AI and all this stuff get like super smart, it feels like overnight almost. And so is there like some serious concern anywhere of like the robots taking over?
This is all you, man.
All right, let's talk about the rules of robotics in a lifetime. No, if we're really going to talk about it, a robot is only going to do what's designed to do. That's the thing. It's not going to program anything you can't program it. And the idea that is going to start thinking itself, there are always parameters. I mean, programming is programming. That's just how it runs into. If you want to, to have the idea of a robot being able to overwrite its own programming is absolutely that sci-fi. That is the what if.
Okay.
But I think if I'm going to geek out about the sci-fi side of it, is the robot overlords overtaking isn't necessarily the idea that the actual robot will overcome. It's that we let our humanity slip to the point where we become the robots themselves, and our own desire of conquering is what actually takes over. Just like zombies aren't really about zombies, zombies are about mass consumerism or mass consumption or blindly following somebody or working yourself to death, whatever story that they want to tell.
Yeah.
That's what I think the robot overlords are really talking about when they're talking about an AI taking over, is our own fear of us losing our humanity and not recognizing people as people, and the idea of whatever that would be, that our basis fear or our basis desire of conquering somebody else becomes we're really the robot overlords. Anyways. So
if my robot vac starts thinking on its own, I'm going to pull the battery out of it or unplug it. Right.
Yeah.
That's the end of the robot vac.
It's like the horror films of Chucky. It's like, it's a doll. I'll just kick it. It's not a big deal. But when they start putting guns on robot dogs, then I'll be concerned. So.
Well, thank you two for being here. I do have one final question. I feel like we can wrap with. Is there like a particular myth about anything electronics that we haven't talked about that you think is particular, or one that we have talked about that is particularly harmful, that you would say, if nothing else you took away from this episode, that they need to know this?
That it doesn't have to be difficult. Again, if you look at it as, how can I make my life easier with some technology? A smart home doesn't have to be the whole home. Again, it can be a thermostat, a couple light switches. It doesn't have to be this big grand thing. A
Mhm.
couple things to make your life easier, to turn on the outside lights automatically and turn them on, it does. Those things are real, challenges for people sometimes, that if it's one less thing you have to think about to get on with the
Mhm.
rest of your day, again, it's worth looking into.
Yeah.
For me, this is going to be a very classist statement, so I apologize ahead of time. When people come in and look at what they see on TV, and they have somebody that has this incredible system. Again, I want to watch all my 6 favorite teams. I want to have my garage, geolocation around my house. And when I pull up, everything does automatically. It's not cheap. So I do want to say this is a definite you get what you pay for situation, that there are fantastic, inexpensive options for very simple functions.
Yeah.
Telling your lights to turn on and off. That entry, that cost of entry, very inexpensive to buy a little Alexa puck and do the basic things like that.
Yeah.
But when you go, man, remember Bill Gates? He walked into a room and the artwork changed and the TV went to his favorite channel, and there's somebody robot that massages back. That's expensive.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure that it's a bad joke that I've told numerous times, but we do basic to bonkers, and nobody's out bonkered us yet. Nobody's come up with something that we can't do for you, but it is scaling. It is definitely a situation to where we can, to Will's point, we can make it very simple for you, and we can make those simple functions work for you. But just keep in mind, if you're looking to get Bill Gates level of automation, you might need Bill Gates level of money. I'm just saying. So
we can do it.
We'll do it for you. Bill,
Please.
if you're listening, come on over. We'll get it to you. Yeah.
Well, that's a perfect way to end it. Again, thank you, Will and Russell, for being here. Always appreciate you taking the time out of your day to tell us about this, and especially for today's episode to debunk these smart home myths. And I want to thank, of course, Hilary and Becca, and all of our listeners, our producers, Ann and Scott as well. Remember to tell everybody you know about this show. Give us 5 stars wherever you listen. Then hop over to nfm.com, where you can shop 24/7 for electronics and all of your home life needs. And then stop in the store and ask for Will, because he'll get you
I'm happy to help
on the path.
Right.
That'll do it for us. Just remember, home is what you make it.
Thanks for joining us today for I Am Home with Tyler Weisskopf, Hilary Woltemath, and Becca Sudbeck. No one knows home quite like NFM. So if you'd like more information on home design at NFM, please check out nfm.com and leave us a review on the podcast platform of your choice.